Hey, it's Kineer. Welcome to a short live stream. We're going to talk about Dune Awakening and the major reveal that happened today. Thank you for joining. Just a reminder, I should be streaming on YouTube at Kineer and on Twitch/Kineer Gaming. I think I may have gotten that fixed. Had some problems with that over the last week or so. Also had some problems with air conditioning here, but I think maybe all that's resolved too. So I'm glad to be back. And we are so back, honestly. If we look at this, not that I think that Dune has lost much of a step along the way, but I did look at the Gamescom stuff that came out today, the reveal on Chapter 2, and also on the Lost Harvest DLC that's coming up. And they're pretty fantastic at this point in time. Like I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to try to kind of temper my enthusiasm because, we won't see them until we see them. But we're going to go through what they revealed today and some of the details on that. And I'm going to watch the trailer. It's a very short trailer. We're going to go ahead and just do a kind of quick react to on that one as well, just to see how it's going and to make sure that my audio is working. And then maybe we'll slip into the game right after that too. But let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer that they revealed today. It's like a minute and a half. Chapter 2. There's a great chart at the end. Look at that wheelie, the tread wheel.
The Mithra's in pieces, the cargo's vanished, and no one knows what it really is. Arrakis is full of secrets. Ancient things buried deep.
Testing station. That looks different.
I need your help, stranger. That package is the key to everything. Find it. And don't.
There's the tread wheel again. Check it that way. That's amazing. Okay, and then the free update part. We're going to go through what's in each of these right at the end here. And a couple other major announcements they've made. One yesterday.
Can trust.
You will work with my investigator and stop this killer before he strikes again.
Character recustomization. Archetype armors. It's armors, not variants. New dynamic encounters. Not a lot on that, actually, which is interesting. And I'm going to pause it right here at the end. So this arrives September 10th. Right around the corner. Right around the corner. Let's go ahead and save this right here. We'll stop right there. And we'll take a look at what they have told us is going to be in this update. The stuff on the right is the free update, so everybody gets this. So if you have already bought the game and you've gone through and you're playing the game, you're going to get the main story continuation. This is the Chapter 2 stuff, right? So we went up through Chapter 1. Actually, there's quite a bit of story there, but it did feel like that, we were missing things. We kind of knew that. Character recustomization, everybody gets that. The dynamic encounters, it's interesting. There's one little clip in here where you run through and it looks like there's like a beacon being shot up in the air or a rocket or something like that. Not much else around that. It just says dynamic encounters. So we'll see what that's about. New contracts. And I think elsewhere they do say several new contracts. So it's not one, it's not two, it's several, who knows. The archetype armors that they were talking about look like, we definitely saw like a Bene Gesserit one, which was pretty cool. But the one before that almost looked a little like Dune Man, but I think what they're doing is they're giving us a set of armor, or at least the armor skins, although they talk about that separately for each one of the skill trees. And I think I can confirm that as well. And then hairstyles and tattoos. And if you like that, then, that's pretty exciting, really. It sounds, I'm going to turn that music down a little bit. That's just the Dune soundtrack. The Lost DLC, or the Lost Harvest DLC, is also pretty exciting as well. And we saw the vehicle in there. They call it the tread wheel, which is 2 giant wheels. We get another story that's around the Lost Harvest, and they kind of alluded to part of that. Although when they did the video, it was all kind of mashed together, and kind of went through fairly quickly. Even though they did sectioned up a little bit, it wasn't as easy to kind of tell what's where. New set of building pieces. We'll show you what we know about those as well. Decorations, armor sets, although this is archetype armor different. There's additional armor sets. These are skins, weapons. I think this could have said armor skins, or, these are variants. I think these are the variants. And this might be actual armor. I don't know. We'll see. Weapon skins, and then an emote. I think the emote is something like Thumper or something like that. So anyway, pretty exciting. Short, minute and a half there, so not much to it. I'm going to go ahead and make sure this is paused. And this was, I'm going to get rid of that. This was revealed at Gamescom. They've got a little bit of information up here. This is worth reading at some point in time. I don't know. I mean, it's some of this is just kind of marketing material about Dune. You know, they're continuing to sell the game. That's fine. They do point everyone over to the Steam page to talk about the Chapter 2 free update and the Lost Harvest. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but there are a couple of key things in here to note. Hey, Pico, nice to see ya. Absolutely, we're chilling again. The air conditioning guys just left this morning. What an ordeal. But they were fantastic. I have nothing but good things to say about them. Real professionals. So we're happy again here. Anyway, change is coming to Arrakis. So Chapter 2 is free. The Lost Harvest DLC is not. And if you do not have it, if you didn't buy the Deluxe or the Ultimate Edition originally, or somewhere along the way, you don't have the Season Pass and you don't have the Lost Harvest DLC in there. They're going to sell it to you for $12.29 or $12.99 US. And it's going to be out on the 10th, which is pretty cool. So let's go into some of the details. This is the video we just watched, so we don't need to go watch this one again. But they did break it down a little bit here. They're just telling us that, you know, they're going to continue to do chapter after chapter after chapter. We had a roadmap just the other day. It was pretty exciting too, and it's aligned with that. And they're trying to give us some more details on that as well. Maybe we'll look at that in just a minute too. Generally, they're going to update, or they're going to release chapter updates at the same time they do DLC. So just going forward, if you buy the season pass or the individual DLCs, you want to kind of buy it a little bit at a time, wait to see what's in them, and then decide. You can do that too, and that's pretty cool. This is their first major content. So September, so we're talking about, we got this thing in June, July, August, September, 3 months in, first major content. New locations, familiar faces, some other details here. And they mentioned the same thing that was in the big chart, the new contracts, dynamic encounters, new archetype armors, and we have some images of that stuff too. The DLC, the paid part, is going to be where the meat is in this, and you know, they're throwing a price tag on it, so you're either going to, you know, if you want it, you want it. They're going to have a little bit of story here. I'm not going to go into the story. So there's a story about the Lost Harvest. We're going to go find out about the Lost Harvest. That's the story right there, so it ought to be pretty good. Unique cosmetics, the brand new vehicle, which you can see down here, the tread wheel. That's what they're calling it here, complete with its own unique animations and tier upgrades. This is something they went out of their way to make sure everybody sees this. The vehicle and other cosmetics provide no material benefit over the base game counterpart. So this thing probably has the same speed and upgrade options and capacity options or modules as the sand bike. That's my guess. But it looks different, and you can drive it, and if you want to buy the DLC and get it, you can get it. But I think they're trying to make sure that nobody looks at it and says this is kind of, I mean, pay to win or something like that, right? So like if you want it, you can have it, but it's largely, you know, a cosmetic and a model, which is nice. You know, I no complaints whatsoever. I would be a little bothered if you had. I mean, it's nice of them. You don't have to go buy this, right? It's completely optional. And they're talking about the new Dune Man building set. So they didn't mention that before, but it is a Dune Man building set. So that's in addition to the ones that we already have in the game so far. So that's all in the DLC. Armor and cosmetics. And there's a really nice chart here, although I would say one of the things I noticed was if you click on the chart, it looks like it's smaller. So I'm not going to click on the chart and read it, but they show you a little more detail, and there's some fine points in here. The tread wheel, I don't think there's anything special in here. It says try the reverse. It's probably got a fascinating animation. This is really interesting. So this is the Lost Harvest DLC in the Season Pass. There are going to be 3 Imperial testing stations that they describe as expanded Imperial testing stations. So it'll be interesting to see how that works, but I'm assuming what that means is that if you have the DLC and you have it installed somewhere on the map, and they don't say where it is, it could be Haga Basin, could be someplace else, we'll have these 3 testing stations. I can't imagine these are on their own place, or they're in their own place from the world map, but they're probably on Haga Basin. That's my guess. Base decorations, it's kind of hard to see this, right? But we're going to get some more base decorations. Those are nice. The Dune Man building pieces are pretty cool. That was actually in the video itself. And maybe I should try to pull that thing back up. I don't want to pull up YouTube here live on the live stream, because who knows what'll pop up. 2 armor skins. So these are 2 skins. These are different than the armor archetypes that you get. I think the armor archetypes, the archetype armors are in the free content. So it looks like 5 new armor sets to represent each skill tree, so you can get a planetologist armor set. These are skins, armor skins. And it's funny the way they referred to them earlier, but so if you have the DLC, you're going to get the armor skins, the weapon skins, the emote, some build pieces, base decorations. But here's the meat of it. It's the 3 Imperial testing stations and the new part of the journey. So in our journey section in the game, we're probably going to have a whole new section which has multiple contracts, and we can go down that path, and then the vehicle too. So that's pretty good. I think even if I did buy the ultimate set because I wanted to get in early and I wanted everything. I did want to go ahead and support the development early on and have access to all the DLCs. So $12.99. Everybody's going to have to decide. That's a big chunk of change depending on how much you value this or not. But the free stuff is still pretty solid. We've got more of the story, and we can expect more in the future. Character recustomization, I think that's kind of cool. I mean, if you're playing the same character all the time, you may have decided, he or she's been in the desert for a long time and living a hard life, and they should look like it. So maybe you want to tune them a little bit. I like the contracts here, and here's what jumped out at me is it says new missions in Harko Village and Arrakis. So this isn't at the trade posts contract boards. These are missions in Harko and Arrakis in the trade or in the social hubs. And I don't know, aside from the ones, the contracts that we already had, let's say like the skill trainers who kept bringing us in and out of the social hubs, I'm having a hard time thinking about any contracts that were really in the social hub so far. So this may be the first. And, certainly they should be able to do that. More dynamic encounters. So this is interesting. It says more dynamic encounters, implying that there are dynamic encounters in the game already. And I think some of that, may refer to the shipwrecks, like the PvP shipwreck areas and things like that. Don't know whether these will be PvP or PvE. But more dynamic encounters certainly says, okay, this is more of what they already have in the game. Hairstyles and tattoos, people dig that. I'm just going to say it's kind of cool. I think some of them that are in there are pretty nice already. I almost always put like a neck tattoo on my characters because, they look kind of nice. The archetype armors, and most of these look pretty cool. So we've got a Bene Gesserit here. We've got... that's probably the trooper, right? And then I'm going to guess I don't know. Is that the Mentat? That's the Mentat, isn't it? Yeah, we have to look at that. So we've got all of them representing the planetologists, etc. And then Swordmaster. Although I don't know which one's the Swordmaster. I have a hard time. It's kind of a small graphic, but that's it. Those are the primary things that they're dropping on us. Some free content, September 10th, right around the corner, and then the DLC, and that's a lot of nice new stuff. And with the roadmap, and we could talk about that a little bit too. They did mention 2 other things, and I'm not really worried about the soundtrack on vinyl, but if that's what you like, that's cool. Developer live streams coming up, that's kind of nice. I like the developer live streams. I'll probably live stream those too, and do a kind of a react to those, because I always enjoy them. I mean, they're a little, they're long, but it's one of those things. I don't know a lot of other studios that are doing that as much. Like a couple of them have. And an in-game event. Changes are coming to Arrakis earlier than you may think. Before Chapter 2 arrives, you'll experience a new conflict that will lead into the major update. They didn't tell us what it is. So that's within the next couple of weeks. That's going to happen. Something weird's going to happen in the game. No idea. But it's pretty exciting. This is pretty cool too. If you're not already playing the game, or if you have friends who want to play the game, the free trial is offered today and for 4 days. So it's a very limited free trial, but they're saying that you can play for up to 10 hours. Free trial characters can't play with people who are already in the game. So they set everybody up on a free trial dedicated server or group of servers, whatever it is, right? However, if you play and you decide to buy the game, you get to keep your character. And I'll show you the details on that. There's a deep dive that they do on that on the main website. And they give you all the details here on the free trial. So if you have somebody who wants to play, they can eventually come join you on the server you're on. However, they can't bring everything they've done. So 10 hours. If you've been playing for a while, you know what you can do in 10 hours. It's probably quite a bit. Somebody who's brand new, maybe not so much, but they can definitely get a feel for the game. And free is free. so you can't go wrong with that. The nice thing about it is you can explore Haga Basin. You cannot go to Harko Village, Arrakeen, or the Deep Desert, which, you know, in 10 hours, probably not a big deal. Keep your progress. You're going to play on a dedicated server. And it says if you want to transfer to your friend server or their world, you'll have to choose that after the free trial. And when you buy the game, you can transfer your character to any server within that world. So you'll need to pick their world. So if you're gonna recommend this to somebody, make sure they know what world you're in and what server you're on eventually. And then it looks like the way they've written this, you also get the desert mechanic cosmetic items. It says they're unlocked when you buy the game. To me, that sounds like you get them for free. I mean, they're just in-game currency anyway. So like if you've already been playing the game for a while, you can have these and they're kind of cool. And then they give you a basic material so you can rebuild your base because you can't take your base with you. And they tell you down below that you will keep your progress level, skill, and tech points and whatever's in your backpack, which is useful. And you can also blueprint your base. If you could do a Solido replicator, you could blueprint your base, and if they give you materials, maybe you can rebuild your base right away. And then you can also use the vehicle backup tool. So depending on how far you get with the vehicles, you won't have to go through the process of rebuilding a vehicle as well. And the only thing that it looks like they're limiting Solari. You can't take more than 10,000 Solari. So like if you manage to rack up 50,000, you're only going to take 10 with you. So that's a pretty good deal. That's a very good deal as far as I'm concerned. And then the second thing I was going to point out here that I have not tested myself yet is the Dune Awakening is Steam Deck verified. Like I have one. I haven't tried it yet, but it's now verified, which means the controls should work and all that good stuff. And that is text is legible, right? Graphics work, controller icons, all that good stuff. I think there are plenty of people who are using controllers in the game right now on PC, which is, you know, cool. But it's another step towards consoles and the console release as well. Although they didn't talk about that. They didn't say anything about that. So so that's it. That is that's the core message here. This is pretty exciting. This is pretty exciting as far as I'm concerned, as far as the free update and the Lost Harvest DLC. There's a lot of content in here. Couple this with the roadmap, which they were talking about some of the DLC, and we saw the Cobalt pace change, like some quality of life stuff pretty quickly. And it's definitely the case that the Funcom team is hard at work on this stuff. I think they did talk about the vacation, the federally mandated vacation schedule, in their headquarters country as well. So, they're buying themselves a little bit of time for legitimate reasons as well. They all deserve a break after all the years they put into getting this thing out the door. So that's where we're at with it. I think, and I'm going to jump in here real quickly because I had some problems. Thank you very much for sticking around here and checking out the video and watching the live stream. I'm going to jump into the game itself at this point in time because if, some of you who've watched before the last week or so, something happened on my streaming rig, and I was having some real problems with the game itself and with the encoding, right? So OBS was kind of losing its mind halfway along the way. So I'm going to cut this stuff off and switch into the game, and we're just going to go out in the deep desert and chill for a little bit, if that's actually possible in the deep desert. But going to wander around a little bit and see what's happening. I think Ripper has one of our guild mates has built a small base for us out there. Let me see if I can get this up and running here. Well, first of all, let's turn off the Dune soundtrack, and we'll be done with that for right now. Get rid of some of this stuff. Although it's very nice. I listen to the Dune soundtrack all the time. That's actually not true. It's nice, but I don't listen to it all the time. I hear it a lot, right? Playing the game, but it's not like I'm actually playing it while I'm on the go. I'm kind of a sucker for the soundtracks. I don't buy them on vinyl, though. I don't know if you buy them on vinyl or not, but I like the soundtracks in many cases. This is good. This is good music, right? They did a nice job. Let's see if we can get into this thing. So far, just me showing video and showing web browser and things like that, I have no problems with the encoder working. But we'll see what happened. I had an NVIDIA driver update and a couple other things change at once, and it very quickly devolved into a a question of, well, out of 4 things that changed, which one of them could have had an effect? And I eventually went back and I looked at the Windows settings for GPU hardware optimization, and I just kind of stepped all the way up. I did all those things in Windows they tell you to do with like the scan now to make sure there's nothing corrupt in Windows, and you check all the files within the game itself and see how that goes too. It's just checking the shaders right now because that's super helpful, right? Let me set this thing up. See if that works. I did log in briefly last night, but I wasn't on live stream, so I have done a full test with YouTube live streaming. I should probably check my my monitoring system behind me to see if it works too, but it's been a busy couple of weeks. It's been kind of crazy. Not that I didn't know that air conditioning was important, but when you lose it the middle of August, it is importanter. It is more importanter than you ever imagined. And it makes doing just about everything difficult. So I don't have, like, normally when I start a live stream like this, I have a here's what we did last time, here's what we're doing the next time kind of thing. I think the last live stream I had was right after they did the changes to the deep desert, where they put all the titanium and strontium out there, and there were more places to get spice as well. So we had gone out there and confirmed that there were medium spice blows, and I don't think that's a mystery to anybody at this point in time. I picked up a couple bits and pieces here and there. Is there anything in there? Oh, I probably need that. Need the darts. Give me back my stupid darts. I don't have anything that actually uses a. And we'll take that too. I don't have anything that actually uses light darts right now, but I feel compelled to carry a couple of them just because, I could pick up a weapon, that uses light darts. I just haven't done it in a while. If I come over here, it's going to do the same thing, isn't it? Yes, there's a... Let's just put these away. Let's just get out to the deep desert and figure out what's going on. Guildmates were in here just stocking up on everything. Yeah, I think they filled up the filters and all that other good stuff. We're doing okay. Yeah, we're not really stockpiling stuff. 600 and it's just a couple hundred. Got a little bit of spice melange. 500. We're probably 1,000 or so. I think I saw a lot of people who were really, no wrong with what they were doing, honestly. They were really jumping on it and they were cranking up their plastinium production. It's one of those things where, like, you had to work so hard to get plastinium before, and now that it was a little easier to get, they were just like, they were making a lot of it. And I don't think we're not doing that, right? That's, in my mind, that's a lot like saying, okay, well, I need 10,000 duraluminum on hand. If I have the time, I'll get around to it, but I'm going to build it as I go. That's going to be my plan. Okay, so I have some survey probes. I made myself a little bit of this. I'm carrying some of this. I don't think there are any good caves this week. I haven't seen any, or didn't see any. Like last week, we had a real nice cave. I should put that into my intro, where you could get a constellation chest. It's pretty sweet, and it had Halleck's pike in it. And so this week, I think there is a testing station in the deep desert around D4, D3, something like that. I think that's going to be the one to farm, because I don't think there are any other caves. But that's nice. Some weeks there will be caves that have high-end loot, and so you need to go into all the caves. So there's a good reason to go into the caves, or at least wait until people figure out what's in the caves and go from there. So we're gonna fly around the desert and make sure that you don't have any problems with encoding or rendering or any of that good stuff. Feels smooth already. Like it's I think maybe I fixed the problem. Funny how that happens though. Like everything works for months, and then Let's go to the deep desert. Let's go to the center one. I think that's where we're going. Everything works for months, and then something just kind of switch flips. I tend to blame Microsoft for all those problems as a starting point. And then my second stop is NVIDIA. I'll blame NVIDIA too, but my real problem is that I think the NVIDIA driver game is pretty strong. I don't have any concerns with that, but the NVIDIA broadcast suite seems to lag a little bit. Like it's not like you get an update every time you get a driver update. And so I do rely on it to do the green screen stuff. Okay, yeah, so we have a little base. Man, they just start us behind a rock. Okay. So now we zone into the middle and we're just behind this giant freaking mesa. Let's see how this goes. I did experience a game lockup in the time since my last live stream, just crossing a boundary in the desert. I know some of you have had that happen to you as well. I was just flying from, I don't know, I wasn't even going anyplace serious. It was like in the PvE area, crossing from like, I don't know, D5 to D4, and the whole game just seized up. Well, actually, I shouldn't say the whole game seized up. My ornithopter disappeared from the screen, the HUD disappeared, I could see the background, and I could see that it was slightly moving. There's an interesting little, there's this kind of slight movement in the background if you're standing still, which is kind of cool because it gives you a sense of motion. But I could also see the new ships flying in the sky, but the game was just seized up, and I sat there for like 4 or 5 minutes. I popped up. I finally went out and canceled the game, came back in, and I'm standing in quicksand, right? And I'm of course freaking out because I'm standing in quicksand, right? And then I look around, and then there's another piece of and literally my ornithopter's like, I don't know, 20 meters away in quicksand, and I just walked over to it and got in and flew away. So I'm grateful that it wasn't functional quicksand, something like that. It was just kind of, it looked like quicksand, but it didn't seem to act like it. Hey Gonks, how you doing? I hope they fix the deep desert. It's boring. I think your mileage can vary. A bunch of people, I think, have been going over to the Harmony world, and they say that it's packed. Although I've also seen some of those people complaining about how many people were there, but like people, I've been thinking about this a little bit. Like, if you don't have enough people to do testing stations, you have a problem in the deep desert at the bare minimum, right? If you have too many people, you can have a problem too, which means there's contention for every resource and that kind of thing. I'm really optimistic, Gonks, on the points that they put into the roadmap, right? But it's going to take months. Like, that's the problem I see, is it's going to take months. So we're going to get this stuff on September 10th. Are we going to, here's the quicksand, are we going to go through the boundary here? Let's see how it goes. That was smooth. Oh, wait, there, I got the little network indicator up there. It went red. So we're going to get the Chapter 2 and the DLC right away, right? That's part of it. And then, they're going to add, well, I shouldn't say they're going to add. They might add, because they put it in a list of things that they might add. They might add more locations, dueling, and faction versus faction PvP. They didn't say PvP, but I don't know how you do faction versus faction. It's got to be PvP off the world map. So they might finally start. I shouldn't say finally. They might start putting more things on the world map. There's a little bit out there now, but not much, right? Okay, let's find this little base. Yeah, this is the one that he built. This is the first time, because of the problems I had. Not that I wouldn't let somebody build a base, but I kind of was out there every Tuesday morning. But this last Tuesday morning, I did go out, and then they dropped another patch. Right, like I was out there starting to. I logged in, I see the notice, and I'm like an hour and a half, and got tied up in other things. So, and stations in the PvE area are the same as Haga. The ones in the A row, you mean, right? What are we looking at here? I'm gonna go poke around the base here. Yeah. Oh, he brought out Okay. Can I? I can't. I don't have permissions on it. You brought out a bike. I need to bring out a buggy. Haven't done that. So I'm sure there's tons of titanium and things like that in here. So like that's off the table. And the other interesting thing about it is like every time I see them put out one of the updates like they did today, or all the text at Gamescom, I'm really sensitive now to when they say they're talking about where PvP is going to happen and where the battle's going to happen, and they're getting very specific about spice. So it's like every time they talk about, especially in the future, like what the conflict is going to be over, it's large spice blooms, and they're not talking medium and they're not talking small. So I have some suspicions about what they're doing, but we won't know until we know. But the testing stations that are going to come with the DLC are supposed to be expanded. The enemies, you know, if the enemies are too easy for you, yeah, that may be just, you know, like you're talented enough to be there, you know, right gear. I mean, they said at the beginning of the game, live streams, they expected people's kind of like a player's power. Your character's power comes from 3 places, right? It's like the gear you're wearing, right? And I'm still like this is T 5.5 gear, right? I haven't even made, although I've got some nice recipes. So it's the gear, it's your skill set, right? What you have unlocked. So clearly, if you don't have everything unlocked, I have some points I haven't spent too. If you don't have everything unlocked, you're going to be limited. And then your personal skill, right? So like you can have people who are very good, let's just say they're very good at, you know, at combat games or something like that, right? They kind of fight at a higher level, like they're just used to it, right? And they're more, let's say they're more likely to pick up on the nuances of how the combat should work and things like that. And so they may start with a third of that, you know, pretty high, and then they just have to kind of level and grind up through the rest of the pieces, right? So I mean, I think it varies. Like when I was clearing the cave last week, I went in and cleared it with, you know, with my T5 gear, but it just took a while, you know. Like for me, getting, you know, through the mix of melee, although the cave and C7, they all stacked up at the door and wouldn't come outside. So I eventually just went back and made a missile launcher and just blew them up a lot because I was just farming it. So after the first time or two, you know, I would run up there and melee the last guy just to see what would happen. Like, but it was not that. I mean, it wasn't that hard, right? You know, once you do that, the cave that was in C3, the melee and the ranged character would come out and chase you around, and so there was a little more to that, right? But yeah, like, you know, once you get to a certain point and you know, if you have all your techniques down and you know how to peel off, you know, like if you walk into some of the test stations, like the circular test station, you could, I think that's the one, like, you know, you could peel off the ranged guys and take them out, the unshielded ranged guys, and try to get rid of those. You deal with, you know, the melees in a specific way. You can get through that. But I know for me right now, I could not solo one of the test stations in B or above. You know, I've been in them before, but I've not found a way. I don't have my build probably where it needs to be. Like I have a build that came out of the, you know, the PvE Haga Basin pieces and was fine for the A row, and I don't have a problem. I don't really have a problem with that. Although if I charge into the middle of a room, I can still get myself killed, you know, even in the A row. Like if I go into one of the rooms, even if it's just got, you know, one group of enemies, it's not like the waves aren't my problem. I'll just go in and, like, you know, I'll catch 2 or 3 melees at the same time, whatever the random, you know, generation is, right? That still happens. But I remember the first time I came up to A in, like, you know, early T5 gear, just the stuff you could manufacture. It wasn't the unique T5 gear either, and the weapons, and I was not getting past those. And actually that brings up a pretty good point, I think. In the roadmap that Funcom put out, they did say, let's see, okay, is there anything this way? Let's go that way. I'm going to go east. They did talk about a clearer progression path, and I think that's an issue, right? Because the idea that you just walk into the deep desert and you can kind of go from place to place all the way up the ladder into like a viable PvP build is, again, I think it's a small subset of players who are, you know, kind of naturally thinking about that stuff. And a lot of other people don't progress that way. It's the reason why, you know, there are so many discussions about, okay, well, what gear should I have just to go to the deep desert in the first place? And, you know, there's videos out there. There's some good stuff. I've done some recommendations on, you know, like the Syndicate set and the Acheronian set, things like that. Those are useful. Like last week, that cave, that C7 cave, eventually I put on like heavy armor and it mitigated a good amount of damage from those guys. I'm just looking for spice out here. I don't know if there's going to be any, but there's a progression, right? So, like, you know, I wouldn't come up here in like the T5 gear. I wouldn't come up here in the T4 gear. I wouldn't come up here in the T5 gear that you just make. You know, you learn the recipe by research and then you just make some. I still think I'd recommend people, you know, go farm the Syndicate stuff, go farm the Acheron stuff. If you want to, and you get up to the deep desert, farm that Mendex suit, right? That's in the little ships on the A-row. Farm the A-row. I think I did that for a week or two. Like, I just did nothing but the first row and got a lot of really nice recipes and things like that. And then you can come out one step at a time. Because I like I said, there is a progression. I don't know that it's super clear to everybody. Yeah, Gonks, I don't agree with it being incomplete or early access. I think that, I don't know what that's about. Like, you know, it's a full enough game. It has chapters. You know, it has a roadmap. So I've seen people say that, but I've never seen anybody, you know, demonstrate what was actually incomplete about it. I do think there's a huge gap in. And they acknowledge this too in that roadmap they just talked about in, I don't know if I'd call it, they called it the demographics, like the players that they attracted to the game. You want to look at it that way, right? And what those players expected, right? But, I mean, I have a hard time parsing that out. You know, like, a lot of people brought their expectations from other games to this game and decided that that's what this was, and I don't think that was right. And I think that my expectation was always that this was a sandbox survival, you know, building kind of game. I was never led to any other belief, but that it had the opportunity for PvP when you got to the end game. And they have said on so many occasions that they expected PvP to be a very specific type of fight around points of interest like the spice blows. I mean, they literally were talking about in May of 2024, over a year before this thing was launched, they're like, we don't want people destroying each other's bases or destroying each other's stuff. That's not their objective. They're trying to make PvP about, you know, going to these POIs and fighting over control points or the big spice blooms. And I thought even like Titanium Island, like I thought that was the point of it. But I think that's, you know, I don't know that was incomplete. I still continue to call it a little interestingly naive, you know, like, how would they not know? But I don't assume that everybody on the team, you know, you can have problems like groupthink, where everybody on the team starts to think about something and, you know, they don't question their own beliefs, if that makes any sense, right? They're like, oh, certainly people will do this. And then even in the beta, like, and there's a pretty extensive beta process for this before even like the open public beta, right, where anybody could join. There was a pretty extensive beta process, but when you kind of hand select who's going to be in your beta, what's that? It's out there. I'm just going to grab this one. When you pre-select who's going to be in your beta, guess what you get? You get pre-selected people. Hello. That was a close call. Paying attention, am I? Is this real spice or is it imaginary spice? It's there. It's actually there. So yeah, I even question like who was in the beta in the first place, right? Because, you know, they pick people. You know, you pick who's going to be there and who's not. And those people know if Some of them, I'm sure, speak very freely about what's happening, and then some of them maybe couch their input a little bit, knowing if they cause too many waves, they may or may not get to continue, or something like that. That's the kind of stuff that leads to groupthink and kind of locking in on an opinion, like, oh, this will work fine. Yeah, everybody will do what we think they're going to do, and then they launch the game and they don't. And you get, just kind of, you get a different reaction. So there's definitely, a mismatch in what they thought they were building and how people played with it. But I think they're fixing it over time. I'm not that worried about it personally. That's interesting. How much can I get? Is that a mouse chasing me, dude? I'm gonna have to sugar wire up this hill when that worm shows up, because he will, just because I'm down here doing this. It's dumb. Up, over the top. Let's go. So I don't know. I guess I just don't call it incomplete. I've personally been involved on very, very large software projects. And my background is in engineering and project management over a ridiculous amount of time. And that actually, you know what, that's another point too. I didn't think about that for a while. We used to, many years ago, do a thing called waterfall development. It was very common. Project management was driven by, like, the military and large construction, things like that. But when you were doing software projects, we all adopted those practices. And, there's this idea that you sit down and you design everything in advance and then you go build it and you launch it only when it's complete and done. There's no such thing as complete in that respect. And maybe that's what people are perceiving. Literally the last 10 plus years have most studios, not just studios, most development teams are following what's generally called an agile development methodology, right? Which is to build something that is functional enough and then iterate on it over time, because there is almost no way to technically predict. Am I at the edge of the freaking map? Yeah. Hold on. Sorry. Yeah, I just flew to the edge of the map. What am I doing here? Let's go this way. So, like, the idea that you can decide in advance exactly what everybody's going to want in the quantities and in the way they want it to work is something that most development teams have kind of given up on. And so there was a time it was probably a couple months ago that a bunch of games YouTubers and some big names and stuff started talking about MVP, minimum viable product. And they talked about it like it was a negative. And being in the business, I would say it is not. It is really kind of part of the fuel of what we are able to have today. Like, the alternative would be far fewer projects delivered in far longer times and with bigger mistakes. There's an entire, like, management philosophy, engineering and design philosophy around this that says, look, if you try to decide in advance what you're going to build just that, you've got a greater chance of building the wrong thing. You've got a better chance of building what people eventually like if you iterate on it. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to say, if you want to say it's incomplete, I'm not going to argue with you on that. But I think it's incomplete in the sense that it's an iterative process. It's an agile process. I don't know if that makes any sense. The software geeks out there, they'll get it. And what do we have there? Nothing. I guess we're not seeing a lot of, I don't know if there's medium spice blooms out here or not, but Pico says on Twitch, labs are basically the same rotation, same fight over and over again. The ones in the A row certainly are. And I don't grind the ones out here as much as I did the A row. Did I? I flew over it, didn't I? Yep. But yeah, like, if you go to, like, the circular testing station, same fight. But honestly, across the board, like, what's complex in this game? Like if you do think about other games and you're like, okay, well what kind of dungeons and instances are there? This game doesn't have a lot of depth in that respect. Well, I mean, like the first one or two you did, is this going to be in a PvP area? Because I'm not going to sit down for this dinky little spot of spice in a PvP area. Yeah, that's clever. Good job, people. I mean, I know, what is it, testing station number 2, whatever the one is in the first area. Like the first one you do in order to make your sand bike. Like, that was a lot of fun, and that felt different. But, you know, that was the first one you did. So those ones out there weren't bad. But, you know, after I run everything on the A row like 20 times in a week, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's not, it doesn't bother me. That's probably another part of it too, is like, there are elements of game. I don't need complete, unique variability in everything. You know, if I go to Starbucks, it's the same Starbucks every day. They get the same menu every day, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest that I order the same coffee. You know, I don't care. I kind of like it that way, right? I would prefer to get what I expect to get every time. So there is a side of it where, you know, uniformity is not the end of the world, but it's definitely a balance where you need something that's different. And God love them, or whoever. There are people out there. I saw somebody the other day. They're like, "Oh, I'm 100 hours in," you know, and I just got to the steel age. I'm like, there are people out there doing that too, which is kind of trippy. They're going to get their money's worth. That's all I can tell you. We could all be sitting around here complaining that there's not enough to do at the end of the game, but you know, hey, 15 days from now. 15 days from now, do I have my numbers right? It's more than 15 days. Today's the 20th, right? So 20 days from now. 20 days from now, we've got new DLC coming out. And if you rush through it, you could probably rush through it really fast. I will not. I'm going to take my time, wander around, look for trivial little things all over the place, and just see what's different. And I'll be happy. I'll be happy, but happy as I can be. What are we doing up here? It's only 1100. I just want a medium. That's all I really care about. I mean, I don't mind chasing these little ones down, but like, I like to confirm that these mediums actually exist. They're supposed to be. I think I went to whose map is it? Dune Gaming Tools, and the map that they embed, and it looked like there were 20 plus potential medium spots south of the half E row line. And I thought that would be pretty cool. But then again, I'm really not trying to build up thousands of spice melange, and I'm not really trying to build up my bank account in the game either. I'm not buying high-end weapons off the end. I'm just relaxing and playing the game. And for me, that's good enough. The only thing I wish, and I think I could restart over on another siege, right? I mean, they don't even limit you. Like, I would replay a game if I enjoy it, right? So like, I could go through, maybe not next month, but 6 months from now or longer, start from scratch and play through everything, you know, however many chapters they have released at the time, and I would enjoy it. Wouldn't bother me in the slightest. I'm a little, just to be honest, I'm a little confused sometimes, you know, with what value PvP players see in the end game anyway. I mean, I know there's no ranking system, and you're not really getting anything at a certain point out of just fighting people, and that feels pretty flat to me. It feels like there should be, you know, yeah, I get it. I saw you. I did notice if you fly over at like 700 meters or something, it doesn't seem to flag you. Like, if you want to say that's incomplete from a PvP perspective, but I think they had such a limited view of what PvP was supposed to be, and people had different expectations. They may look at it as an opportunity. They should. If people want more, they should fill the end game with all the things they're talking about. I hope they do. Grodius. There's basically no incentive for PvP, which is why I don't really blame them for griefing. What else is there to do? I agree. There's very little incentive for PvP. I don't excuse the griefing anyway, but I get it. Yeah, you know, that's an impulse control issue. Don't get me wrong, like, you know. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm not going to argue with you about it. I think the expectations were different, and you know, and I still think some of that comes from other games. I go back. It's ridiculous how much time I have spent going back and rewatching like the developer live streams to see what they said, and then reading the things they've said, and I mean carefully reading. I'm almost like diagramming sentences. Like, okay, why did they use those words and not those? Why did they omit these 3 things that should have been included? They didn't just assume they were included. I'm like, yeah, they have an expectation, and they still do. I don't think they're putting it in everybody's face all the time, but I think they're right now. I think they're kind of leading PvP players along. I should say stringing them along. Like, they're trying to keep some of them, as many, you know, like with some of the things they said in the roadmap. They're like, hey, this thing's coming up, and those could be fun. Because people are clearly dueling. People are setting up their own dueling arenas. And that's great, right? So they want to add dueling. You know, the faction, I've seen the faction thing mentioned, I don't know how many times. But it's going to be months, right? And in the meantime, I think somewhere there's a small sliver of people somewhere between the let's say the pure PvE and what I consider to be kind of the PvP players that are looking for, you know, even matched fights that end up being skill based, that are also kind of falling into that, oh, I got nothing better to do, so I'm just gonna club seals, I think is the term, feed the worm, that kind of stuff. That language tells me a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes, and I think Funcom's probably okay bleeding some of those people off because they keep taking things out in the patches. There's nothing over here, is there? Like, I don't even know where I'm at. Oh, there's a shipwreck. Well, I've got a little distance to go. So there's something going on there. But yeah, I was having conversations with people about the PvP. I'm like, what do you get? Like, what could you get out of any of the people that you're killing? There's not even loot that comes off of it. And I don't know about you, but I haven't seen on our server, or our world at least, I've not seen anybody pick full loot in the Landsrod, either side. You know, it's been a few weeks, nobody's picking it. That says something. If that was important, that's it. But that's the incentive, right? Some other games you get everything, right? Like, there's other games are literally built around base rating and grabbing loot from other people, things like that. And I just don't think Funcom was thinking about that when they kind of rolled this thing out. Yeah, okay. This is not a spicy time, I'm telling you. This is not as spicy as I was hoping it was going to be. Come over to Pixis. Is Pixis is all hell breaking loose over there? In a good way? Is that what you're saying, Pika? Yeah, there you go. There's another one you could call incomplete. Is there a group finder? Oh, actually, that brought up another thought that I had, which is always a dangerous thing. Thanks so much for doing that. Put this one on. Oh, there's a cave down there. There's a cave inside the PvP. I'm not going to mess with that. I don't care. So look at the free trial. Here's what I'm saying. Look at the free trial that we talked about at the start of the live stream. Go look at the full page. And everything they tell you you can take from the free trial into your game, if you decide to buy the game and go forward. Now take everything that they tell you you can do after the free trial as far as that, and just say, well, how does that work as a transfer option in the game? And I think they're testing the transfer option right now too. Because essentially that's what they're offering. The transfer from the existing servers, or from the free trial servers, to the main public server group. That's what they're offering. And that wasn't there day one, right? So server transfers, people have been talking about server transfers, right? Now, I hope they don't sell them, but I'm sure they've got some mechanism. They've got to decide how they would do it, right? But people are re-rolling. If you've come all the way up here and you're horsing around, it doesn't take that long to get here. I spun up a character on a private server and had him in the deep desert in a weekend. I don't think I was trying that hard. All you have to do is get him into an ornithopter. And once you already know how it works, is that a falling ship? That ship doesn't look like it's flying normally. I'm not finding much out here. I was going to get together with Ripper in the guild. We were making runs north as a duo and farming mediums, but I guess the first thing to figure out is, oh, there's a ship down there. Have a little bit of inventory room. The last one of these I tried to grab. A worm came and got it because it had been sitting there longer than I knew. So how does this work? If it's on fire, it's okay, right? Does the fire go out eventually? We'll find out. Let's just drop it. I'm habitually collecting ship manifests, but what did I get? Oh, there you go. Oh, I got a... That's cool. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'll take those. I'll take those. I collect the ship manifest because you turn them in for the Landsrad, right? And then they're going to take that out, right? Sometime in the future. I'm not assuming it's tomorrow, but I assume they're going to take those out sometime in the future. They said something about converting those to contracts, right? So instead of just turn-in quests where, one member of a guild can just go back and forth between the guild bank and, just turn in a 1,000, it's not 1,000, it's just like 500 of something. It's going to be contract-based, which, I don't object to. I don't care about those. I don't really care about that little spice either, but whatever. That's northwest. I'm pretty far down. That actually could be a medium. Well, I don't like to go. I don't like to chase the mediums into the, let's say, the low PvP areas. I don't mind a medium in G. It seems okay. Well, that worked just exactly the way I wanted it to. Maybe not. Maybe I need to be on top of my... I'm real nervous about... This is not going to work. I don't really want to bounce around this much. Like a medium that's in a higher level row is actually a safer and more easier place to go farm, isn't it? I don't know what this thing's doing. I'm done. Can I get it from the top? Maybe I should have done that in the first place. I was a little distracted there. Can I take the complex machinery? I guess I can, can't I? Take the cervix now that I have room? I don't have room, I'm full. I guess I need to go back to the little base. Yeah, I found the ones that are like out, pretty far out, but not close to anything else have been pretty good places to farm. Fight for 90 minutes for one gun. Are you talking about, Grody, are you talking about like the PvP shipwrecks and things? They're going to fix that too, aren't they? They talked about instance loot, and I thought they were talking about the PvP shipwrecks, because the ones already in the PvE zone are instance loot. So maybe they'll just make them all that way. You can go in and you can have PvP and you can have instance loot, right? That seems consistent with what they've been saying. Like, it is a shipwreck, it is PvP, it has stayed PvP, it's localized. If you want to fight over it, you can fight over it. Yeah, because that was a problem in the first place, and they're like, oh, so what was their first problem? Their first problem was that it was on an exact timer and you could camp it, right? And they're like, okay, well, so we'll randomize it. And they're like, well, that didn't work. I saw a few people, you know, they would at least come to some agreement out there, like, okay, well, we'll duel over it, right? Do a short fight without, just kind of a complete battle over the, because you're just hanging outside doing whatever. Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff could be fixed. The neat thing is there are hundreds of pretty clever ideas floating around to fix things. That's, my impression. Hold on. There's a cave up there. I don't care about that. Where's the base? Oh, I just flew past it because I wasn't paying attention, because I'm just talking.
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
Well, this would be a really good time to go land at the base, inside a shield, and pull stuff out of my inventory. Yeah. There's a development cycle. It's iterative. That's what I was saying. I'm like, so they make a thing, does it work? Then they adjust and they change it and they change it, but they still have a vision that's I think they're consistent with it. I am a little disappointed, but in that, and I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I read things in their roadmap, and I'm like, I can tell you this line and this paragraph are going to be completely misinterpreted, and people are going to think exactly the opposite of what they probably intend. Now, I think if you carefully read what they write, they're being pretty straightforward every time, but it's like in that one in the post when they split the PvE desert. Joel writes this. Well, I don't know if Joel wrote it, right? Some PR person wrote it, and Joel's approved it or had his input or whatever. It's like, let me be unequivocal, and I'm like, could have said that in simpler terms, right? Like that word meant exactly what he meant, or what they meant. I'm not concerned about that, but I'm like, sometimes I'm not sure if they're dancing around it on purpose. They're trying to be vague. I think they will be, right? I'm not going to say that I don't believe that it's not that I think that that's beyond them. I think they can be vague on purpose. Oh, I guess I'll go take that back.
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
I should put it this way. I feel very confident they are, in some cases, deliberately being ambiguous. That would probably be the better way to say it. They are using language. And in some cases, I think they're ambiguous because they're trying to, they're just being complex. So I don't blame a lot of people who read, I don't blame people for reading it and filling in details that aren't immediately obvious to them. That's human behavior. We all do that, right? We all, you see something and the tendency is to see what you believe versus believe what you see, right? And if that's the whole concept of confirmation bias, right? If you like it anyway and it seems to fit well enough, you're like, yeah, I gotta wait for the storm, don't I? You're like, that's what I wanted him to say anyway, so I'm gonna believe that, even if it wasn't actually what they said. So I don't know a solution. I don't know a solution to that, right? It's just people are people. Plenty of time on this. People are people. All you have to do is put down money to get the game. So there's no, you don't want it any other way. You don't really want a litmus test. People want to play. You have to sort out and deal with everything they do. Chico says, in my opinion, Dev should have split the game from the beginning. I think they wanted to get all the players and then figure out directions later, as they're doing now. That's the agile process. Let's get everybody in the room and see who punches somebody. Always open to discuss respectfully. an interesting. It's an iterative process, right? I always think about this chart. I don't have it. I'd love to show it to you. It's like
Sector
how do you
weather alert.
how do you design a
Alarm
car
sandstorm
from
is
an agile
approaching.
methodology, right? And in the old days, you would sit down and you'd be like, okay, it's going to have 4 wheels, it's going to have an engine this size, it's going to have this, that, and you'd set everything out in advance and then make it. And the agile process is, well, first I take a piece of wood and I put two wheels on it. Now I have a vehicle. It's not a car. And then I take, another piece of wood, put 2 wheels on that. Now I have 4 wheels, and I can just push it with my feet, right? And now I put a little handlebar on it. This iterative process that eventually says I'll get a car, but in halfway through, it's 4 wheels and a scooter handle or something like that, and you're like, where are we in the Dune universe? I think we're past 4 wheels and a scooter handle, but we might be in what's a very reasonably priced car, like, is it it's not Mazda have been creeping up. I don't know, there's some very nice Japanese brands still that are like, you're that, but you're not a Tesla
Sector
or
weather
something.
alert. A large sandstorm
Where are
is
you on this
approaching.
path? I gotta scroll back up and see your other comment while I'm waiting for the storm. Let's see if I can do this. My Twitch stream. Oh man, that's a big comment. No wonder I can't see it. I'm not taking that's your issue, man. That's okay. I'll figure it out. Yeah, that went right by. Like my window. I got to get a unified chat thing. I got to do that. The devs are definitely attracting many different crowds, players of the game. I feel it's split between the chill. This is off the Twitch stream for the YouTube people. I feel it's split between the chill PvE players and the more energetic PvP players. Most of us PvP players have grown up playing competitive games, so we want action and look for that rush. Don't want to or kill solo farmers, but have no issues fighting bigger groups. Some people's mindset is if they didn't want it in the game, they wouldn't allow it because sandbox survival PvP usually
Sector
attracts
weather
high
alert.
action.
A large sandstorm
Yeah,
is approaching.
I think you're on the point, which is people say if nothing stops me from doing it, then it's permitted, and not just permitted, it's acceptable and desired, right? They're like, well, they would have stopped me if they didn't want it to happen, right? And so, like, the developers keep talking about this very specific form of PvP around these things, and this is where I think people are falling into a trap right now. And I'm going to say I could be completely wrong, but at the end of the roadmap, they said something like, and then eventually we will revert the deep desert towards, with an S on it, not to, but towards the original intention. And I'm like, okay, well, you better go nail down what the original intention was, because they were pretty clear about that too, and people are off with what they expect from other games too. And I just, if they don't, that's why I think they're leading people on, because if they just punch in a bunch of other PvP activities, they might come back at the end and not do much with the deep desert at all. They might even make it a little more restrictive. They go, well, look, there's dueling, there's faction, there's this, that. There's so much more PvP in the game now than there was before. And maybe that's useful or not, but I don't think it's ever going to become Rust. That's the issue I keep running into. Hey, Daw, nice to see you. And you're doing PvP. That goes back to the whole concept of progression. If there's a path, I think more people will go to PvP. I think more people will do PvP over time. If there's a clear progression and path. The thing that people, this blows me away, because somebody pointed this out somewhere. I saw it like in a Funcom Discord. It was a weird audio clip. I don't know what's going on there. Like the storm just dropped. There's a guy, Josh Hayes, Strife Hayes. I don't remember. I've watched him before from time to time. He did a video 4 years ago about hardcore PvP, and it's not about whether it's competitive or not. And in many cases, it's not whether people like Josh Strife Hayes, whatever his name is, right? British guy, right? It's about whether you engage in a PvP fight and the outcome is already there's no chance of winning. Like, it's already concluded. No one wants to do that. Like, no one probably, even PvP players, want to compete in PvP if they have zero chance of winning, right? And this goes back to like, it goes back to you know, like the power combination, skill, equipment, and, well, I should say your character skills, equipment, and then your skills, right? And so if you're going to go into a PvP fight and you have zero chance of winning, it's not PvP. That's where you get into the griefing claims, right? You're like, this isn't PvP. I didn't want to do it. I don't think I have any chance. It's not engaging for me. That's also where you get people who are like, I'm just here to drive people out of the game. I'm just making them mad, right? That's my goal. There was somebody in our deep desert who I watched on. I watched their comments in the Funcom Discord as well, and they had a little YouTube trophy channel up, and that was their stated objective, was to make things miserable for any PvE player. That was their objective. It was literally like, I mean, they won't use the word griefing because they'll be like, well, you know, you stole all the tier 6 content from us or something like that. It was kind of a weird. There was a whole weird thing going on, but the people don't want to. That's not competitive, right? And there are no sports, you know, it's the reason why NBA teams don't play basketball against high school teams. That's not competitive, right? High school team looks at it and says, yeah, you guys are probably going to beat us. Why would you do it? I mean, maybe for charity or something, right? But, you know, none of them think they're going to win. So they don't get involved in it. So you have to find a way to make it competitive enough. So even if somebody comes up and they're like, well, I think I'm skilled, but I got terrible gear, maybe I got a chance at winning. And now you got people that want to play PvP. And you have to have that progression to get people there. And if there's a big gap... Did I just clear that thing? I think I just did it, didn't I? Or did that just land? Inventory's full. Hey, Candy! Nice to see you. Dude, that's incredible. How does YouTube do that? Because I don't even have 20 people over here right now. I gotta get you on Twitch. Thank you very much, Candy Cartons. I'm gonna like redo all my bumpers, and I'm gonna put like a special Candy Cartons thank you on there. That's incredible, man. Great job, brother. Look at all you people. Glad you're here. Very glad you're here to listen to me rant and rave. I'm not ranting. I'm just, you know, swimming around in it. I like the discussion. Oh, and I screwed up my Twitch chat. Let me see if I can get this fixed after I get across the this crazy quicksand thing. So let's do this. Let's aim at the exit. See if I can get myself locked in so I can just go where I'm going. Where am I going here? That'll work. Oh, I screwed. Did I screw it up again? Oh, I'm not going fast enough. I got the angle wrong. Okay, let's do this. I need to get over here and fix my Twitch chat because I'm missing, like, yeah, I was missing Pico's last comment. Yeah, so we come full circle, right? Was the game incomplete, or was it iterative? Were they optimistic? Were they just smoking something over there? Doorway or wherever they are? I don't know what they were doing. They seem like decent people. Like I said, I like the live streams. You know, all the people they brought onto the live streams before the game came out really felt like they were truly kind of communicating as well as they could. And, you know, that note came out the other day about the roadmap, and the first thing they said was, you know, and you have to read it carefully. Go back and read it, please do. It said, we're sorry some of you feel like we haven't been communicating. They didn't say, we're sorry we haven't been communicating. They said, we're sorry some of you feel like it, or there is the perception. They know what they're saying. They're being very precise, but I think they did, you know, they addressed it. And the whole cobalt paste thing, didn't that come out of Reddit? There were some people on Reddit like every day pasting some ridiculous meme about the weight of cobalt paste. And so they did it. So they're paying attention. Oh, and Ben's power. Yeah, that was in the roadmap too, right? So the Reddit posts about the guy named Ben, whose power was out on his base. So now we're going to get something so that you can sign up for emails to tell you the power's out on your base or your taxes are due. I'm slightly cynical about that. I think they're just tired of having people complain, and they want to be able to say, well, just sign up for the email and don't tell us that your power went out on your base, that you lost all your stuff. That's, I mean, it is mutually beneficial. It is good for players and good for them, although most people don't want emails. It would be better, like, I always wanted an app, like, but I would put a Dune app on my phone. It wouldn't bother me if it popped up every now and then and said, you know, your taxes are due, or you know, if it had some awareness of my bases and told me that, you know, the status on them. But I've wanted that kind of functionality in a lot of games, and they never seem to deliver it. They want you to log in. They want you to come play. Grodius! Oh, sorry, Daw. Yes, I am. Here, I'll come down here. I'll show you my armor sets as soon as I land again, if I think I've got them. I did know the quicksand is the line between the servers, which is why when I crashed the other day, I landed in the quicksand, but I don't think it's real quicksand. Like I said, maybe that's not. I didn't understand how quicksand works, but I just walked over to my ornithopter, got in it, and flew away. And maybe you have to stay there a long time. I don't know. Could be anything for all I know. But yes, I think I did vaguely know that, but I appreciate the reminder, Grodius. I can't pull up. Okay, I can't pull up anything while I'm in here. I do have to land. Yes, so I highly recommend the Syndicate armor as one of the not last things, but you know, one of the things you do in Haga Basin when you've got your base and you're like, I'm going to go play in the deep desert. I like it because for me, I try to avoid melee combat. I don't think I would do it as a sword master. I mean, I guess it's actually not bad. It's got some blade protection. It may be short on blade protection. It's got mitigation for like poison and fire. And flamethrower guys bothered me, things like that. But I will say that I also very much like the Atreides set, which you can get out of the... Is it Shaitan's Grotto in Sheol? No enemies, you just go down there a lot, every, 45 minutes or hour or whatever it is, right? I'll pull it up here. I don't think I have that armor set over here, but it's a nice heavy armor set. It's almost as good as Mendek's heavy armor, which is the PvP shipwreck version up in the A row. So I am currently wearing all Syndicate except for the Talab soft step boots. I've never picked up the next set of Talab soft step boots. They're not that great, but I have these over here. Like if I want to run testing stations, I'll do that because energy, fire, blade, and poison mitigation, and some dash protection, right? So like good for dash, doesn't have any concussion, no dart protection. So you're going to take a lot of damage from darts if you're fighting somebody that's shooting you, you're going to take a lot of damage from darts. But this is okay for me in my melee, and also for dealing with the heavies that have flamethrowers, as well as some of them that, like the snipers with poison. I think it probably helps there. Like when you add these up, it's a ridiculous amount of protection. The fire protection might be 50%, 10. There's 25, 35, 42.5. Yeah, 50% fire mitigation. Pretty good. But you're missing the others, right? So kind of depends on what you're doing. Storm Rider Boost Module 6. That'd be cool. I haven't been using the Boost Module lately, but I'll use it. And then the Atreides set is from down here. I go down to Sheol. Shaitan's Grotto. You just land outside here. And I always land with an empty thopter. I just pocket it, go down inside. You have to wear the radiation suit because it's in Sheol, right? And you can also pick up EMF and with the EMF generators and the micro sandwich fabric, that kind of thing. So you can pick that stuff up pretty easily too, right? And then there is a chest down there hidden under some rocks in kind of the main altar room. It's like behind some fallen stone, and most of the time it gives you a piece of heavy armor. And that's pretty good heavy armor. I used that actually last week when I was doing that C7. Like when I first went up there in the Syndicate suit, they were just like, every time I shot at them, you know, your shields drop when you shoot. I'm shooting at them at a distance, and they're just like cutting me in half. Because my shield's down and the Syndicate armor doesn't do anything for me. But when I put the Acheronian stuff on, I was taking a lot more hits without too much trouble, which was great, right? So I like them both, and then you can start to upgrade. I actually, like, at this point in time, I mean, this is people are gonna like cringe, you know, be like, oh my god, why haven't you actually built these? Like, I'm kind of slowly working up. I did buy these last week, the circle gauntlets, right? Those are heavy, right? Those are good. But I have Idaho's Charge. I have the Desert Garb as light armor. I have pincushion pants, helmet, and gauntlets, if I just get around to making them, and the boots. So I've got a full set of this armor, and I'm running Syndicate because it's cheap to fix, and I probably have a couple of them stacked up. I'm going to build the Regis triple shot, and I'm also going to build the Ancient Way soon. I would love to build, I'll build that one. I might be able to build that now. And then I keep on hand, so these are the other ones that I had, the Acheronian pants helmet. I already have these built, so it's not like... I don't mind having extras, though. The boots, and a full set of these. And they're pretty good, you know, you get way over, well over 1,000 armor protection. It's pretty solid. No, I think that's a good solid combination to have when you're leaving the deep desert. I don't have any problem in the test stations in the A row with them. Also got my hands for the first time on the Tarl. Yeah, Tarl Cutter, and that one should be moved too. Did you get it? Did you get it down? Did you get it down here? Tarl Cutter should be down here now. I have not tried to farm it yet, but I like farming this place. This place is easy to farm. Get yourself a radiation suit, jump down, head northwest. Have a light. You have to have a light. It makes it a lot easier. You head northwest, you find the band, you come back out, and you just kind of go left and left and left, and you're in and out in no time flat. You get a pretty decent sniper rifle. And if the Tarl Cutter is down there now, I actually like that. I enjoy running that more than I do this, whatever was up here, right? The Stone Step Village, which is where I used to go for the Tarl Cutter. The spice-infused plastinium is a problem if you can't or you don't want to go do the test stations in the deep desert. So if there's a test station in the deep desert in the PvE zone, and you can run with a group, if you have a group, run it, and you'll get the spice-infused plastinium. Last week, that cave that I keep talking about, C7, and there was actually C3 was also another cave with a constellation chest, a little star chest, right? Sparkly chest. C3 had 2 enemies in it, just 2, and I think it was like a mini version of the chest, but both of those caves were dropping the spice-infused plastinium. I think I picked up 70. Like, I got a lot of it. I just kept running it, right? Plus you get whatever was in there, like Halleck's pick. So the spice-infused plastinium comes out of everything. I think it's in the PvP area. I think it also comes out of the shipwrecks, certainly the testing stations. But it also came out of some of the caves, but they have to have the high-end loot chest. And it has to be rows B and above. And if you're in B and above, just farm them. That's what I did. I had literally, on my private server, I set up a base right outside there, and I just logged in every now and then and ran over there with a generic missile launcher, not like the Ancient Way. And I just run inside, shoot one of them, drag them out to the door, and just mow them down. It was relatively straightforward. I want to get to the point where, and I don't know, maybe somebody else has done this. Yeah, it's not row A. I've seen people clear like the test stations solo, but so far I've always been able to find people, so I've not had to do it. I'd like to try. I don't know that my combat skills are up to it yet, or that I've really kind of put the effort into gearing up. But maybe if I get slightly better gear and change my tactics a little bit, I might have to do some skill adjustments too, because I haven't done much with the skills in a while. But it's possible to do it. I just think it's easier. Like it's almost always like if you want to run the test stations, even especially in the PvE area, and you just tell people you're going over there and chat, a lot of times people will just show up. You get 3 or 4 people. It's just loot. And you just run around, kill them. The only thing, you know, like, I think the PvP area, there's a real nice drop in the in one of the PvP test stations this week, I think. There's a nice rifle. But you have to go up there, and I think, who was it? May have been, I don't know who was talking about it earlier. I apologize for forgetting, but was talking about, like, the, you know, like the 90-minute wait and, you know, the potential for loot, because the PvP stuff is not instance at this point in time, which is... I was going to use the word, it's annoying. That's the light version of the word, is it's kind of annoying, and you're like, oh, you know, how much time, again, it's how much time and effort did I put into it to get nothing? And you're like, oh, that bothers people. Justifiably so, right? You're like, I don't want to put a lot, you know, if I'm going to put a lot of time and effort into it, I'm hoping I get something out of it, right? My time, everybody's time is worth something, right? Even if you're playing a game, you know, there's other things you could be doing. Okay. What was I doing? Oh, I'm completely distracted. I was going to at least queue these up. Not a lot, but it's what we picked up. Is that the one? Oh, that's not bad. Oh. What else is in there? There's nothing else in there. That's all I brought back, isn't it? I guess that's one thing I haven't had to do since they made the most recent changes. I don't really farm the spice and shield anymore. I was doing a lot of that. Okay, so I already put these away, didn't I? There's nothing else in here. I hope I didn't leave them all in the box because I was just too busy talking. That's completely possible. That's exactly what I did. Completely possible. Okay. This is my crummy hand-me-down Mark V. I have so many boxes full of these things. That's from row A, right? Mark V welding tools. Now, see, this Ornithopter does have Mark 6 engine and wings. So I think that's a natural progression. Like, you get your Mark V, you go out there, you get enough materials, you put nice wings on it, you know, maybe get a nice, get yourself a nice engine too, and now you can kind of go throughout the deep desert. If, you know, you have a nice booster, those scouts are fast, nothing touches them anymore. You can go find places. Where is the top-end weapons thing? Do I have the materials necessary to make the... I don't think I do. I gotta get them out of the box. The Ancient Way. Spice-infused plastinium dust. Oh, I put the stuff that I collected. This is one of those items that I don't put into the guild kind of general pool, just because it is a lootable item, or a rare lootable item. Actually, can I make the, I want to make this too. Can I just do that? It's not going to be on the list, is it? What's this thing take? So I need 20. I think I have all the rest of the parts. We'll find out. Plastinium, mechanical parts, silicon, gun parts. Yeah, we got plenty of everything. So I just need 10 more dust. Because I want to see what this thing does. Now, I am not planning on running out and, like, you know, PvPing somebody and shooting them with the Ancient Way, but I'm not above using it on some NPCs somewhere just because it'll be entertaining. The Regis triple shot repeating rifle. It's going to take 62 Spice Blanche. It's good. Give me one. Okay, and then the Ancient Way. It's another 62. Yeah. Yeah, give me that too. And then I need missiles. Oh, the missiles are easy, aren't they? And you get 10 at a time, right? Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let's, I bet they're heavy. Let's just make 100. I'll leave them here if they're too heavy to carry. Ancient Way, man. Now we're... These are my first, like, tier 6 weapons. I've not made any until now. Pico says he got the Tarl at the far south wreck. Yes, I think you're 100%. I mean, I'm not arguing with you. But I forgot. That one down there, too. That one has 3 enemies outside of it, though, right? Right at the entrance. So that's you can bounce between the 2. You just have to kill those 3 guys down there. One of our guys had an idea I like a lot. The Landsrad being a multi-phase process. Phase 1 PvT turn-ins, Phase 2 PvP fight over the goal points to actually claim the house bingo cards. Yeah, it's an interesting framework. I think they could go that way. I think the... Did they talk about the control points too? The control points are not mature as a game mechanic as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, it's not like I've gone out and tried to contest one, so I don't know. But it started off with, you can build yourself a base out there and try to defend it. Okay, this is... Okay, I gotta stop this. Clearly I did this wrong. I should have... I put in 100, didn't I? Sorry. How many of these do I have? Yeah, that's way too many. I wanted 100 missiles. I didn't want 1,000 missiles. But, okay. You get 10 at a time. Yeah, it doesn't feel like the control points were completely well thought out, in my opinion. On the ground. Oh, I gotta put this all back in a freaking box. Where were they? Okay, let's get all this stuff out of my inventory. I need a box that's mostly... It's kind of empty. How about this one? Yeah, that's mostly empty. Okay. Yeah, definitely my mistake. Those up, please. I don't need a lot of these. Here, you can have those. Give me another, how many did I pick up? Like 10 or 20? Let's just give me 25. Not 125. That's 25V. I'll take 100. How about that? Go shoot something. I'm just going to go shoot an NPC nearby. I'm really good at counting, evidently. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, I used to do a lot of advanced math from an engineering perspective. What am I trying now? So we have the Regis triple shot, which is going to take, it takes more to keep that thing up to speed, right? What am I carrying here? The ancient way. Let's do that. Should go put that other rifle someplace else. Oh, there's a storm coming, so perfect timing. Come on, people. I need to shoot something. What do you need to shoot? Yes. I need to shoot something. Okay, so we should get 9. Okay, it should be just like the last triple shot I had. I don't think I can hit these guys from here, can I? Two for one. 2 for 1. I should go over there and get the bodies. That storm coming this way? I pick it up. Pick is full. Okay, how about that? Is my backpack full of missiles? Yes, it's full of missiles. So, good job. Can I take it? It worked. Okay. So those things are ridiculously heavy. I have to be careful about that. I won't be able to carry anything else I want to carry, right? I just want the body. I love the fact that you can just tap the F key now and put the body in there. Oh, and that reminds me, we're also going to get... we didn't get it yet, did we? The ability to switch positions in here with a single hotkey. Which is a wonderful addition to the buggy. Mining purposes. Can't complain about that. Yeah, so now I've completely broken this thing, man. My chat is all messed up. Because I had to go up and scroll, and for some reason it's you can never have too much ammo. Now I see it. They mentioned reshaping the Landsred. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to do a lot. Here's the thing. Again, okay, I'm reading very carefully into what they say. The Landsred is not the end game, is the first point I'll make. It is supposed to be the in-game driver, they say. So they've looked at it and they've said it is not driving the in-game that we think we were supposed to get or we were trying to make, right? And that's a legitimate thing to say, right? Whether you think the end game is there or not is another question, but it's not driving the stuff that they think that they wanted to think. So that's part of their intention, part of their kind of, you know, what's going on in their heads, right? Just like, what are they trying to actually do, and why isn't it what they're getting, right? So the Landsred, the contract versus turn-in thing. I started to talk about that earlier, like, because I've turned in sand bikes a couple times. It's kind of a pain, but it's not impossible for a solo player to make the sand bikes. I had to drive. It's not like I put them in a buggy, and I would drive all the components for 6 of them over at a time. I'd park at a distance. I'd take them out one at a time, build them, fuel them up, drive them over, and it was an hour plus to get that done. But it's just copper. It's like cheap. That's different than, let's say, taking a stack of Opifire gems that you've collected, and you have 1,000 of them. And as soon as the thing opens up, you just walk over and drop it on there. And those are the ones I think that they're going to fix, right? They're going to gate them behind a contract. So I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know what you think, but if they're going to make it so that only one player can turn in so many Opifire gems, I don't know how you get to like 14,000 points if you want the reward, right? So like I'm curious to see how they're going to do that. That seems like it's going to be a little crazy. So hearing that noise is my own personal Vietnam. I do not understand, Grodius. But I may be 2 minutes late on the comment. I don't have timestamps turned on, so I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, what was I doing? I grabbed some bodies, primarily because I shot them with the Ancient Way, and it was entertaining, and I enjoyed it. And so it works like a charm. I don't have anything in the deep desert. Like, maybe that's how I'll solo a test station sometime. I'll have to go sometime when because there's no friendly fire in there. Like, I couldn't harm anybody. I can't hurt anybody else, can I? Or can I? I shouldn't be able to harm other players. But I should be able to throw, like, a collapse grenade at the enemies that come into the testing station or come out through the door, and then fire the Ancient Way at them. Like, that would be entertaining, I think. So that would be fun. I don't know that I'm gonna do it right now. I'm just gonna go over here. So I have this. Is there a better camp over here with more enemies in it? I thought there was one around the corner that was... There's one that almost always has, like, House Atreides guys attacking the dudes. That's not it. That's a little one. And I don't think it'll do any good against the guy I just killed. I don't think it'll do any good against the ones that are spread out, right? This is just a test run. Where are they? Man. Oh wait, here you go. This is exactly what I want. Okay, hold on. Let's do this. We're gonna get out. Those guys won't kill each other because they're dumb and they just do that. Anti-gravity, explosive grenade. Is it a Mentat thing? Oh. Who has the collapse grenade? Do I not have it anymore? I thought it was always the trooper, wasn't it? Anti-gravity. Oh, it is. I don't have it unlocked. Do I have enough points? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I want that. Can I get the next level? I can't. Okay, that's fine. We want this because it'll be entertaining. Well, I'm gonna be trapped. I'm trapped on my... That's not cool. Okay, so this is what we want to do, right? We're going to throw this in the middle of them all, right? And then we're going to come do this. Oh, I missed. What do you mean I'm out of ammo? Did I leave it all in the buggy? Okay. That's embarrassing. Okay. I left all my ammo. Come on, man. What did I do? Did I hit, did I just hit fill on the container or something? That ruined my fun. But they're all going to be alive in just a minute when I go back over there, aren't they? They're all going to be there. Just going to be waiting for me. I did. There's another 50 of them somewhere in a box. I don't know where it's at though. Is it here? Hold on. I did. I left them all in the buggy, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I left them all in the buggy. This is for science, I'm telling you. This is this is supposed to work. This is supposed to work. And I know they're not really strong enemies, but it doesn't matter. It's for science. Where were they? Was that the group? Yeah, they're there. They're still there. Wow, this got choppy. It's very choppy over here. Okay, let's see what... I'm going to put my shield on because that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and load this thing up, and I have a ridiculous amount of ammunition. Bring them all together, right? I think I made it. So, that took 4 of them out. It took 4 of them out in one shot. 3, 4, something like that, right? I don't feel like running back and forth, but we are gonna pick them up. Oh man, I am so stuck on this ornithopter. Go ahead and put those in there, so I've got enough room to pick up a body. Yeah, that's useful, you know. I'm surprised the one guy survived, right? Maybe they wore each other out, I don't know. But he definitely survived, so out of all the groups that were over there, is there anybody else? I think that worked just perfectly. Clearly, that's what I was hoping to do. Now, the ones that are in the testing stations are going to be considerably more challenging, but theoretically, collapse grenade, bring them all together, hit them with that, and then maybe the assault seeker. I don't know if you've got the assault seeker up to level 3. Seems like that could be useful as well, right? So you've got damage there. I would hate to give up Shigawire inside a testing station, so that's as far as I could go. Collapse grenade and that. And I think that was Trooper, right? There's no levels on this. Once you have it, you have it. That's all there is. It doesn't get any more or less powerful. That's cool. I'm okay. Anti-gravity field. No, that was well worth a handful of points. So that and you know, and the Ancient Way. Nice combination. I like it. Oh, let's get the bodies out of here. Oh, we're doing all right. We didn't have nearly as many bodies last night. A lot of leader johns. And that's too many missiles. 29V. What are they? They're a half? Yeah, they're a half piece, aren't they? So that would have been, yep. Something like that. Or 0.5? No, it's less than that, isn't it? Where did I put the rest of them? Okay, let's put them. I'm going to put them all in here. Give me one. What do they weigh? 0.2. Yeah, good at math again. So 5 of them is 1. So for every 5. Yep, there you go. That's cool. That's a good number. I'm going to use a bunch of them then. That's a fair number, right? $6V. They don't weigh as much as a freaking leader john. I carry 2 leader johns for no good reason. I really only need 1 of those, don't I? That's what we're going to do. We're going to trade. Let's fill our containers. We're going to put 1 leader john away, and then we're going to... I'm going to go ahead and take all those, I guess. Be a much larger collection. What is it? If I put 1 of these away, it's going to be 15. That's pretty good, really. That's like... But 75 I can carry. 75 feels like a good number. 75 feels like a great number. Yeah, 95. And that gives me more than enough room to carry, to pick up a body when I need to pick up a body and things like that, which I do pretty regularly. That's a good loadout. I'm okay with that there. Is there anything going on here? Kill deserters. Oh, we're almost ready to get that one. I don't think I can kill 8,000 points worth of deserters right now. Oh, wait a minute. We have access to a Landsrad tool vendor. I need to go find out what that's for, or what we can get. Spice-infused steel dust. I don't think I have that much of it. No, I don't really build weapons that often for the Landsrad. It's still early. What's this? Spice melange? We're not in a position. We don't have a lot of excess spice. Other people do. We don't. Gardas. GRDAs. Yeah, so there you go. You can get a set of the Arch-Arlian gauntlets. If you do want to kill a lot of deserters, you can get Idaho's Charge. I did really like the Landsrad for that. You know, I didn't mind the turn-in stuff. Like the sand bikes that I turned in and things like that was how I got the pin cushion stuff. Like I didn't... Some of it were drops, like the gloves in a test station, but some of it was just working the Landsrad. And at times it was just, you know, I did go get enough Opifire gems or whatever it was. Now, I didn't turn in 70,000 points worth, but I think on at least one occasion I did 14,000 points to get a swatch. That was not exciting. I mean, it was nice, but the swatches don't move me. They don't motivate me for whatever reason. They're not that great. So it works all right. We got plenty of fuel. Let's go see what the tool vendor has. I haven't been to Arrakis in ages, feels like. Oh, how's this going on? So that base is still fine. That one's fine. I've only seen a couple of bases start to fall apart. That one is falling apart. Check this out. Like, look at the roof of it. I don't know if it's... There's a lot of ornithopters in there. Maybe they did come back and they powered it up. Like, it looks terrible, but they just didn't repair it. There's an active pentashield. That's a good sign, isn't it? Maybe it's just... they have it on one tiny part of their base. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these guys. We've got an assault and that in here, and something down below. There's a buggy down there. I think they had a big ramp at some point. Maybe their ramp used to go all the way down. Huh. So not a lot of them, but definitely occasional. That's Spiffy's. That's one of our guild members, but he hasn't been back. I have a feeling he's not coming back. Especially after the Warcraft announcement the other day. I don't know when that's going to drop. Whatever the midnight or whatever they call it, right? He was off playing that. The gravity of that game was enough to draw him away, and he may have done what he wanted to do in Dune. He might have done everything he wanted to do. Oh no. Yeah, I'm also, just as a warning, I got a late start today, so I may have to cut out. I can't go 5 hours today. I have an appointment tonight. A motorcycle club meeting. Which is a weird idea. It's not a motorcycle ride. It's a little hot to be riding right now anyway. It's been a little ridiculous lately. Pico de Gallo says, I have 20 swatches so far. That's impressive. It really is. I got one or two of them and I'm like, you know, they look different. I get it. But maybe I got the wrong ones. I need to go find one of those charts that has all of them in one place. I did go look one up one time, but I just haven't paid it much attention. But I definitely like getting the gear. I like picking up the 10,000 Solari, you know, because you can do, like, it's pretty easy to like rack up 70, 80,000 if you're not, you know, you just want to pay your taxes or something. You just go shoot some things, right? That's easy. The second line reward is usually not, you know, it's usually like a T5 unique or something like that. If it's not like just materials, you know, like crafting materials. But I love that 10,500 mark because some of those are really nice rewards. But as you can tell, I'm not in a hurry to build them. I'll build them. I'll get a, you know, I guess now because Chapter 2 is coming out and there's some DLC, maybe I'll build a Tier 6 set. They didn't say that there's going to be Tier 7 coming up, but, you know, eventually there will be. What do I want? The Lance Red Tool Vendor. This lady always disturbs me. I don't know why she's just like squatting there on the floor with her cape sticking forward. What's wrong with her? Somebody should... There's a problem. There's a problem Funcom should get on right away. The squatting lady. What can we have? Which one's tools? She's not, is she?
I only trade with those who have the
She's the vehicle? V for vehicle.
You do not have the favor of
Arms, VA.
my apologies.
Weapons, VAW.
House Atreides welcomes trade with those favored by the Landsrat.
What you got? The Compact Compactor Mark 6. Emperor's Wing, the Sentinel Belt. Those all look good. I don't have as much money. Maybe I do need more money. Think about that. So that is essentially a Mark 6 power pack, which is very useful, especially when in the testing stations and things like that. That's part of the problem I have. Plastinium. That's also plastinium. 65 spice-infused plastinium dust. I would not even build that, I don't think. 14, I would build that. What are the stats on it? Extreme gather rate, medium worm. Yeah, I would build that. And it is what? 45 plastinium and 83 spice melange. Feels like it would do a nice job, and I don't care about this is not bad. Activate to hover, the apex of jump. 94 spice melange. I'm not sure I would do that. This one I will build eventually, so because I've been using the compact compactor Mark V that came out of the A row, I think A3, A4, the testing stations there. Although I haven't seen it drop in a while. I don't know if it's on a rotation or not, but let's get this. Now I have it. So I bought something from the tool vendor. I feel like I have participated in the tool vendor. I got the benefit of the Landsrod win. And I don't want these. I suppose you could buy them and sell them, couldn't you? Emperor's Wings Mark 6, Sentinel Belt. Would anybody buy them? That's the question. Emperor's Wings Mark 6 and then the Sentinel Belt. Let's go see. Like this isn't the right week to sell them. Let's put it that way. So I could buy them for speculative reasons, and that would be okay. Plus, as a way to test the searching, right? Unique schematics. No, I want tools. Building tools. Oh, is that armor? It is armor, isn't it? Unique schematics. Utility, thank you. Nope. Oh, that's where it's at. I didn't know it was there. So it's under this category, under Power Pack Dispenser Belt. So the Mark IVs, that's kind of odd. Dispenser belts. Those are just low levels. Oh, I need to search under unique schematics. So all these should be here too, right? Static compactor Mark III, Mark III, Mark III, Mark III. Cut array? That's nice. Wow. There's a reason to farm those if they actually sell for that kind of money. That's crazy. Dispenser belt, 800,000. So that's what they're asking, right? Doesn't mean that they're buying. Anybody has bought it for that much, right? Yeah. So somebody has bought that and put it up there for 800,000. Seeing if there are any Harkonnen that want it. I'd do it for a tiny fraction of that. I might buy one or two more. Put them up for sale. Assuming the Harkos don't
House Atreides welcomes
win and pick the
trade
tool
with
vendor
those
as well.
favored by the Landsrat.
That seems like a very specialized one. That's just a lot of money. I don't think I'd put that. I don't think I'd risk it. Emperor's Wings. Yeah, I don't really care for any of those, honestly. They're not that exciting as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I need a lot of them though, Pico. I'll need a second one, but I'm sure I can repair this one for a while. I haven't spent any time trying to sell blueprints in a very long time, so I did play around with it for a while, but I don't put the extra time in. I'm not paying attention to the prices. I'm not paying attention to the prices. Probably not getting what I need out of it anyway, so. My lord, they were seen to dive into the storm because they were crazy. Where are we? There we go. Thank you. Where on the map are they going to put the new content and when? We're good though. Did I miss any other questions over here? Got my hands in the taro. Got the spice, stone. We got all that stuff. To the extent that I know anything, I will share it. What I know for certain now is that Pico has 20 swatches. So if you want to talk to anybody about all the swatches that are out there, join our Discord and talk to Pico. I'm going to find that. I'll see if I can find that chart and post it in there. That would be useful. I do like that they, so they changed the location you spawn in. This is slightly different than it used to be. So I just turn right and there's our guild base. And it used to be we would spawn in like, it was pretty far over here. I think we'd be like over here facing that little camp because I'd have to jump up and over. So they've done a nice job on that. Just don't know what's going on there. Here's the good news for me. This is the really great news is this has been 2 hours and they have evidently fixed my encoder problem. So I have like 2 frames dropped in 2 hours. On the rendering side, only 5. So absolutely no problems there whatsoever. I do think I'm going to wrap this one up. Like I said, I started a little bit late here because I had, if anybody was following the saga, I lost an entire air conditioner in the house and we just got it fixed. It took a week and a half plus because I had a guy come in and like try something with refrigerant and it just kind of all leaked back out. So it's really kind of interesting when you're like, oh, I put refrigerant in there and then $300 of it leaked out over 3 days. That's great, you know, so, but we got it all swapped out and I think it's in great shape. I'm going to go check on it as well. It feels pretty good in here right now. So thank you very much for tuning in. It's been 2 hours. If you've been here the whole time, you probably have all of the drops. There are drops out there from, for Chome building components this week. If you didn't get them already for somebody else, I know I haven't been on in a little while, but, I do the same thing. That's why I'm over on Twitch, to make sure everybody gets all that good stuff. 25 total houses, 25 swatches. That's impressive. But I'm going to wrap up for now. This has been Kineer, and I'm out of here. See you on the next one.